Welcome back. Jamie Davis has been Britain's best prospect so far this season in the International Formula 3000 Championship. He's managed 2 podium finishes, but he's given himself rather a lot to do at Hockenheim, starting from 25th on the grid. Simon Taylor has all the details.
Well, you can't really blame Jamie for being so far back. This is the bouncing Czech Thomas Enger, who ran into the back of Jamie in qualifying and rather spoiled his day. Hockenheim's a tricky track for setup. In the twisty stadium section you need plenty of grip, but there are also long straights where your car must be as slippery as possible for better top speed. So in the dry, everyone runs very small rear wings. Championship leader Juan Pablo Montoya has so far not quite got to grips with Hockenheim. His 10th spot on the grid is his worst this year. His championship challenger, local hero Nick Heidfeld, has been right on the limit all weekend, and he's taken pole position in the West McLaren Lola by a 1/5 of a second from the Brazilian Max Wilson. Third, a 1/10 of a second down, the wild Frenchman Sohail Ayari, who found time to live up to his reputation with this moment in the stadium section. But there remains the possibility of rain. Wet tyres are being brought out in case of need, so let's hear from pole position man Nick Heidfeld.
Yeah, we've been here testing about 1 month ago, and we also had some testing in the rain, and I've been even faster in the rain than in the dry, so I would like the rain for sure.
Even faster in the wet than in the dry, that's quite something. Here's the grid. Dane Jason Watt 4th on the grid, further back Gareth Rees is 13th, and Kevin McGarity, who gave us those aerobatics in the last round, is a strong 15th. There's Jamie down on the 13th row, just behind him, Christian Horner. But we've got last-minute drama here because the weather has completely changed. The entire field have done their warm-up lap, some of them on slicks, so they've had to come into the pits to change onto wet weather tyres. They will start from the pit lane, and suddenly the track is very, very wet indeed, and the rain continues to fall. Everybody on the grid is on wet weather tyres, but as I say, quite a few cars, including Jamie Davis, will have to start from the pit lane where they went after the warm-up lap to change onto wet weather tyres. We've got Nick Heidfeld on the right of your picture on pole position, Max Wilson on the left. We've got the red lights on. When the lights go out, they do, the race is on, and Max Wilson moved early and then stopped. Nick Heidfeld is underway, Max Wilson is stationary, they're all getting round him, but Nick Heidfeld has the lead with Sohail Ayari challenging him, and a tremendous start up into 3rd place from Heidfeld's teammate Nicolas Manassian as they go through the first corner, and visibility is going to be a real problem here. There's a lot of spray, there's a lot of water. There's Max Wilson, who moved early and then stalled. The latecomers start from the pit lane, and out at the front of the race it's Nick Heidfeld who has the lead, and goodness knows what's happening behind him in the spray. I can see Sohail Ayari in 2nd place. Oh, Nick Heidfeld nearly loses it into the first chicane, but Sohail Ayari is 2nd. That looks like Jason Watt in 3rd place. Nicolas Manassian surely is 4th. A couple of other people are missing the chicane. Somebody there's lost his nose cone already as they go back onto the circuit out of that first chicane on up to the 2nd chicane. Look at this visibility, it is absolutely dreadful. Still, Heidfeld leads, Ayari 2nd, Jason Watt closing up in 3rd place. They come up to the 2nd chicane, twitching under braking as they go through this tight one. Somebody goes straight on, it's Nicolas Manassian, who has missed the chicane altogether, regains the track, and they go on out of that 2nd chicane. Still Heidfeld leading Ayari and Watt, and a spin there, that's Alex Müller, who has spun. And there's been a big accident coming out of the 2nd chicane. I can't quite see who's involved. Several cars. There's a car upside down by the side of the track. Several more are off the track. Drivers getting out. I can see Stefan Sarrazin climbing out of his car and Montanari. But there's a car upside down on top of another one. A lot of wreckage. They must surely stop this race. This race must be stopped, and indeed it is. Red lights down here at the start-finish line. We're going to see a replay. Kurt Mollekens without a rear wing, and he is hit from behind by at least 2 cars, and that starts the chain reaction because there is almost no visibility in the spray. I can't identify who the cars are that are involved. We're seeing another shot, somebody rearing up into the air. That looks like Gaston Mazzacani's car, and I think that Kurt Mollekens, the man who originally lost his wing, must be in there somewhere. Fortunately, everybody else managing to file by. Number 7 there there is Jamie Davis, who's going through unharmed. And while they clear up the debris, let's look at the start again. The lights are still red when Max Wilson on the left starts to move. He then falters, realising he's jumped the start, waves his arms rather impotently, and then moves forward a few feet more and stops. The rest of the field go away, and miraculously everybody manages to avoid him somehow. He'll be pretty happy that the race is going to be restarted. He'll have another chance to do better. And in fact, the cars are now going round behind the course car. It's been decided on a track that is now beginning to dry to start the race behind the safety car. So they come round in grid order. There is Nick Heidfeld leading Max Wilson and Sohail Ayari and the rest of the field, and the safety car pulls off. The race is on. Nick Heidfeld leads them over the start-finish line. A twitch to remind us that the track is still very slippery. There is still a lot of spray, but Heidfeld leads from Max Wilson, from Sohail Ayari, and Jason Watt is in fourth place as they go into the first turn. 9 cars, incidentally, missing from this race that did take the first start. Those were the 9 that were involved in that horrifying accident at the first start, but I'm happy to confirm that there were no injuries. Miraculously, nobody at all hurt in that immense accident. And now the race goes on, and side by side going down into the first chicane, Jason Watt is attacking Sohail Ayari, who is going to brake first, and Max Wilson leaves his braking very late. Max Wilson, the second place man, goes off, misses the chicane altogether. So does Sohail Ayari, and that should promote Jason Watt up into second place. This is the first chicane of the restart. That's David Brown, incidentally, Nick Heidfeld's team manager at the West McLaren Formula 3000 team. But indeed, it is Jason Watt who's moved up into second place. Nick Heidfeld still the leader as they come into the second chicane, and already it is starting to look a bit drier, but it's very, very slippery. And a spin there for Sohail Ayari and Max Wilson, both gone off together. I didn't see what happened there, but Wilson clearly damaged at the back. Ayari pointing in the wrong direction. That's Ayari, who doesn't look at all pleased. We're going to see what happened. And it's Gonzalo Rodriguez who leaves his braking late, who hits Ayari. Ayari spins and goes backwards into the unfortunate Wilson. Ayari and Wilson spin off, and Gonzalo Rodriguez makes up 2 places and lives on to fight another day, and that's very unfortunate for the Frenchman and the Brazilian. And Gonzalo Rodriguez has gone off again. He's gone off all on his own this time, and that's allowed Juan Pablo Montoya to make up a further place. All of that excitement, covering just 2 corners of that lap, has all helped Montoya to make up 3 more places. Meanwhile, look at this. This is the battle for third place. Nicolas Manassian is third, but Alex Müller, the home boy on his home circuit, is challenging, and we're seeing a replay once more of Gonzalo Rodriguez getting it completely wrong coming into the stadium. And although he is able to get back onto the circuit, that is what has promoted Juan Pablo Montoya, the championship leader, to 5th place. He's gone from 10th place up to 5th. Gonzalo Rodriguez still there in 6th place. This battle for 3rd between Manassian and Müller, but Nick Heidfeld looking very comfortable indeed. Here's that 3rd place battle once more, and Müller couldn't be any closer if he weren't going over the top. Meanwhile, Gareth Rees showing in 8th place. Kevin McGarrity also now in the top 10, and once more Alex Müller has a look at one side then the other. Nicolas Manassian driving to keep the door shut. There's Jason Watt in 2nd place. Where is this 3rd place battle? It's coming through the murk, and they're side by side coming down to the chicane. Manassian leaves his braking later, takes a tight line, but it's not going to get him through the chicane, and he misses the chicane, does Manassian. Meanwhile, Müller goes the correct way. They come back absolutely wheel to wheel. I don't know what the judges are going to say about that. There is the black and yellow car of Jason Watt in 2nd place. We look now once more for this side-by-side, wheel-to-wheel battle for 3rd place. Manassian on the left, Müller on the right. Müller has the outside line, but Müller goes ahead and manages to stay on the island, taking that wide line. A bit of a slide as he goes up over the curb. Meanwhile, we're seeing a replay of another spin. This is Gregoire de Galzin, Jamie Davis's teammate, going backwards off the circuit in his Damslola. And now the battles go on all the way down the circuit. This is the battle for 7th place. This is Junqueira in the yellow car. Gareth Rees tucked into his slipstream. They go up to 165 miles an hour. Still a lot of spray. Gareth Rees has a look at the inside as they come down into the stadium. He's not going to do it. Yes, he is. He's got there on the inside. But Junqueira holds his line. Now Gareth Rees tries to pull out, and the red car at the back of that quartet is Kevin McGarity. Brits fighting well, and we're seeing a replay. This is Montoya making a mistake, outbraking himself coming into the chicane, goes neatly through the bollards, gets back onto the circuit, but that won't help his progress up the field at all. Battles all the way down the lap chart. This is Luckberger, de Richebourg and Martini tied together. Martini pulling out of the slipstream, goes alongside Boris de Richebourg as they go flat out down the long, slightly curving straight towards the next chicane. And Luckberger ahead of them, Martini alongside de Richebourg. Martini trying to hold out de Richebourg. De Richebourg goes down the inside once more, and they're going to touch. They don't touch, amazingly, and Martini holds the place. It's still very, very slippery, but it is starting to dry out. There's a slightly darker grey line on the road, a greyer line of slightly drier tarmac appearing. There's our leader, Nick Heidfeld, and the significant point of this race, I think, is going to be when to stop for dry weather tyres. If you leave it too late to stop, you'll find your wet weather tyres aren't working anymore and you're losing track position. There's Ron Dennis talking to David Brown in the Manasseh Heidfeld pit, and David Sears of Supernova has brought in Boris de Richebourg already. They've decided it's dry enough now to put him onto slicks. And Gonzalo Rodriguez is coming in, but that is not for a tyre change. He's been given a 10-second stop-go penalty because of that collision with Sile Yari and Max Wilson right at the beginning of the race. He comes in to serve his 10-second penalty, and Schweger attacking Junqueira for 7th place. And if you want to go alongside somebody when there's only one dry line, you're in danger of going onto the wet, and it can be very, very slippery indeed. But Schweger does go ahead, slots neatly in front of the yellow car of Junqueira. Dominic Schweger up to 7th place, and ahead of him Gareth Rees has already passed them. Gareth Rees is up to 6th. And now our leader's in. This is the leader. Nick Heidfeld comes in for a fresh set of dry weather tyres. So does Jason Watt in 2nd place. The 1st and 2nd place cars are both in the pits now to get their slick tyres. Meanwhile, as people come in, so Gareth Rees goes to the head of the queue. Gareth Rees hasn't stopped yet, and for the first time in his Formula 3000 career, Gareth Rees is a race leader, but I wonder if he's left this pit stop a little bit too late. Everyone else has made their pit stops, has changed. There's Montoya, who's locking up his wheels going into the chicane, and he has caught up with this fantastic 3rd place battle, which is still raging. Müller and Manasseh. Müller is 3rd, Manasseh is 4th, and Manasseh is attacking Müller as they come down to the 2nd chicane. Manasseh has the inside line, leads it, braking too late, he's gone straight on. Manasseh throws it away, but slots past the bollards, rejoins the circuit. And where's he come out again? He came out briefly ahead of Montoya, but Montoya now displaces him. Montoya splits the battling pair. So it's now Müller 3rd, Montoya 4th, Manasseh pushed down to 5th, and Manasseh fighting back. Manasseh having a little look at the inside as they queue up to go through the next chicane. Müller, Montoya and Manasseh. And remember that it's Manasseh's teammate, Nick Heidfeld, who is leading the race and is battling for the championship lead with Juan Pablo Montoya in car number 1, who's just ahead of Manasseh. We're seeing replay, and this was Manasseh's mistake, where he lost it under braking, left his braking just a little bit too late. Fortunately didn't take Müller with him, and Müller is now attacked by Montoya. Montoya attacking Müller, a very determined move. It's very slippery there offline, and Müller isn't having any of it. Müller fights back. Montoya is still there. Montoya on the wet line. Manasseh trying to get alongside as well. 3 cars battling over 3rd place. Magnificent stuff. And Manasseh still challenging as they go on to the long straight. Identical cars, all Lolas, identical engines, all Zytec V8s. It's just the drivers in the cockpits who are different, and that's why Formula 3000 is such a wonderful test of driving skill and courage. Montoya at the back of the trio now, and the tense McLaren West team watching. There's Kevin McGarity, who's a brilliant 6th now. He made an early and brave stop for slicks, and we look at the leader. Nick Heidfeld now with a 30 seconds advantage, while all the excitement's gone on behind him, and the excitement's still going on for 3rd place. Müller, Manasseh and Montoya fighting over this 3rd place, and Manasseh is challenging on the outside as he comes alongside Müller down into the chicane. He's nosing ahead, they've touched, they're off! They've both gone off. Manasseh tried a manoeuvre which was never going to work. He went round the outside. The McLaren team cannot believe it. Manasseh, in my view, tried a manoeuvre which was never going to work, and David Sears looks pretty happy about it because that has promoted Montoya. We see it again. Manasseh going round the outside, and Müller had absolutely nowhere to go. A collision was inevitable. Manasseh and Müller out, and that has promoted Juan Pablo Montoya in the dying moments of this race here at Hockenheim up into third place. There is Manasseh walking away, has a little chat with that Max Wilson, who's been watching there for a very long time, and here's our leader, Nick Heidfeld. On his final lap, the checkered flag is waiting. Nick Heidfeld is going to score maximum championship points here at Hockenheim. Heidfeld scores his second Formula 3000 victory. He won in Monaco. He's won here today in Germany. Heidfeld, a conclusive winner. And here comes our second place man, Jason Watt. A solid and consistent race on his lonely way to an excellent second place. Jason Watt finishes second, and third place is going to go to the wily Juan Pablo Montoya, who just let Manasseh